So Governor Stitt appointed you to work on Operation Guardian with them. Tell me what that process is going to look like.
So, of course, with the new incoming Trump administration, the governor directed me to have, at the state level, have Oklahoma prepared to work with the Trump administration and immigration officials, ICE, Homeland Security, new Homeland Security Director, and be prepared to implement a plan that people who are here in Oklahoma illegally and have committed crimes, or as crimes are committed, that we have a systematic approach to, moving those people out of the country, getting them back in ICE custody so that they can be deported.
Mm-hmm. And I spoke with Governor Stitt, I believe, about 2 or 3 weeks ago. He said he was planning on meeting with you after the first of the year. Have you guys met up yet? And if so, what have you guys been discussing?
Oh, certainly. We've met several times about it. So kind of right now we kind of have a priority list of how we're going to address this. The first priority, of course, to the governor is there are currently in DOC custody, people who are in the state illegally and who have committed crimes and have been placed into DOC custody or serving a prison sentence. So we have gathered those names and understanding of those individuals, what their crimes were that they committed, where they're at in the sentencing part of that, how much of their sentence have they done. And now the governor will go through and vet each one of those and determine, has justice been served? Have they served enough of their sentence? And, he looks at it both from a victim. We want the victims, if it was a crime with a victim involved, to take their situation into account, but also relieve the taxpayers of having to pay to house and secure these people who are here illegally when they committed the crime. So he's vetting those. At some point, he'll make a decision what numbers of those who should be eligible to be removed from the country, and then we'll work with the new incoming administration to, as quickly as we can, move them into ICE custody so that they can then be deported. So that's kind of the top of the list. Second down on that would be, have there been individuals who've already completed a jail sentence that were here illegally, committed a crime, got sentenced, and now they've been released? In the last 4 years, in the past, what would have happened is when that person was going to get released from custody, there would be an ICE detainer put on them, and the federal government would come and pick them up once their sentence was served. In the last 4 years, that hasn't been happening at the federal level. So now we kind of have a backlog of people that we need to look at. Can we now go and find those people and that have already committed those crimes and remove them from the country as well? Third down on the list is moving forward after January 21st and the new administration in place. How are we working with the federal government, with ICE and with Homeland Security, that as law enforcement throughout the state of Oklahoma at the state, county, and municipal level come into contact with somebody who's here illegally and they're committing a crime? How do we remove them from the country? How do we put them into ICE custody so that then they can be removed from the country because they're committing additional criminal conduct that's hard to put even a dollar number on how much cities and counties in the state spends on those reoccurring crimes that get committed by people who are here illegally. So we want to make sure and remove them from the country. All three of those are also, it's important that the federal government secure our borders so they don't get deported and then come right back in. So I know that's a primary objective of the incoming federal administration, is to make sure and as quickly as possible have the border in a secure position. Our fourth concern is, we know that there's as many as maybe 400,000 juveniles, kids, that over the past 4 years have been released into the United States, and that right now the federal government can't tell us their condition, where they're at, who they're with. And we would only imagine that some of those children could potentially be in Oklahoma. So we want to do our part to try and identify those, locate those children, and check on their safety and well-being as well. So those are kind of the four main topic areas that we're looking at developing a plan on.
Yeah, it sounds like that could be a very long process, just in terms of finding who those people
It-
are and finding where they're at.
Yeah, of course, the ones who are in custody currently, that's why it's kind of at the top of the list. That's pretty easy to do and to begin that process. You know, law enforcement comes into contact almost on a day, no doubt on a daily basis with somebody who's in our country and in our state illegally and who's committing crimes that put the general public at risk. It's a true public safety concern. And so we're moving forward with plans on what kind of guidance and partnerships can we have at the municipal and county level to work with the state to make as seamless and quick as a process to move those people who get arrested for a crime and here illegally. How can we get them into federal custody to, remove them from the state?
And for people who are already in custody, is it going to be a matter of, hey, let's just kind of categorize them all into one spot where we should, kind of deport them? Or is it going to be like, hey, this person committed a worse crime than the other, so we're going to prioritize getting them out first?
Well, so of course, if they're in DOC custody, then that means they've already gone through the Oklahoma judicial system. Those are going to be vetted by what kind of crime did they commit. The governor will vet those people, and if it's a violent crime, an 85% crime where they've got to serve 85% of their sentence, it's murder, manslaughter, rape, violent crimes, then of course the governor will take into account, has justice been served, is the victim that were the victims of this crime. We wouldn't want to do anything to not let them see justice being served. So I think those people are going to be vetted in that manner of if you haven't served a majority of your sentence, then you're probably going to finish serving your sentence here. But for those victimless crimes and those lower level crimes, and they're currently in DOC custody, right now Oklahoma taxpayers are paying right around $32,000 a day to house and secure these people. And a lot of those people may be some that didn't commit a violent crime, whether it be drug crimes or other property crimes, that the tax burden shouldn't be on Oklahomans to continue housing them. And can they be removed from the country with a secure border where they can't get back in? Can that happen pretty quickly? So I think that vetting process for anybody who's in custody right now will take the type of crime they committed, where are they at in their sentence, and looking for the fairness that justice has been served, but also removing them from the country as promptly as is practical.
What would be your message to folks, and I'm sure you've already heard from the other side of this debate, who say this kind of plan is anti-immigrant, is anti a certain community? Right.
So, of course, the governor's been very clear on this. We're a law and order state. People who live here, legally or illegally, are expected to obey and follow the law. But the governor also recognizes that the United States and the state of Oklahoma, we want to be a state that people can live out that American dream, and we are a country of immigrants. And so having a partnership with the federal administration that can make those workforce and immigration rules and abide by those, that allows people to come here and live the American dream and help us with our workforce needs in the state of Oklahoma, but at the same time not allowing illegal immigrants, and especially those who come into Oklahoma and then commit crimes. So the message would be, I think part of this is political on the side of dreamers and things like that. That's a political question. I don't necessarily have an opinion on that. I look at it from a public safety standpoint, and where the governor and I will stand strong on is that if you're here in Oklahoma and you're here illegally and you commit a crime that puts the citizens in jeopardy, that puts Oklahomans in jeopardy, then you'll be arrested and you'll be deported. And so that is our priority, the public safety part of it.
You want to get a quick two-shot? I can move closer to the table.
Okay.
Just for a shot of us talking. Is there anything else I haven't asked you about this plan that you'd like to share?
I don't, at this point, I don't think so. We're in conversations both at the federal level with the Trump administration, incoming administration, having more talks with them this Thursday. We're also having talks with our county sheriffs, elected sheriffs, and chiefs of police. You know, this has got to be a true partnership at that municipal, county, state, and federal level. So getting everybody on the same sheet of music and applying you know, the initiative, the project in the same manner across the state will be critical.